Hey guys, welcome back to another Weird Wednesday. I'm Ashers, and this is
Pat O.
Pat. Oh, how was your weekend?
My weekend was interesting. I spent Friday night preparing for this upcoming weekend's DJ set that I'm doing on Record Store Day, Saturday, April 22nd at Rock Island Public House. They got 12 DJs DJing all day, and I'm going on around midnight. Which is a pretty sweet time slot. I know it's a little bit late, but that's usually when the party's bumping.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I used to DJ all the time back in the day. When I was in a band for most of my 20s, and then when I got my grown up job, I could not do the practices and the shows and stuff. My schedule was all out of whack. So I switched to DJing because my nights off were Tuesday night and Wednesday night. And you can't really play a punk rock show on a Tuesday night or Wednesday night, or you can, but no one really shows up, right?
Right.
But DJing, they need DJs all over the place 7 nights a week. So started DJing and would DJ at everything from industrial bars to gay bars to like hipster craft beer places, like all over the place. So I have about 500 vinyl records still, and just spent Friday night like going through them all, and not all of them, but trying to come up with a playlist for next weekend and making sure that like everything still plays and there's no scratches or bumps.
Yeah.
And I'm only doing like an hour-ish set, which is about 20 songs, depending on the song length, 15 to 20 songs. So I want to give myself like a coherent, this is what I'm going to show up and probably do. And then you got to give yourself like some auxiliary ammunition in case like the room is vibing this way, like okay, so I could switch and do some of this. So yeah, it's a lot more thought out than you would think it is. And because it's record store day, and just the nature of the setup, it's all vinyl. Nowadays people can DJ with like a fucking laptop. Like you could show
Right.
up with like your laptop or your cell phone and just go on Spotify and just go back and forth between the two. But I come from an age, being as old as I fucking am, where you actually have to play records and get the records to match up when you transition from one to the other. So
Are those like the big CDs records? I'm just
yes, well,
kidding. I know what records
some of
are.
them are, because I am doing a lot of I'm doing a lot of rock and roll and punk stuff too. I am playing a lot of 45s, which
Oh,
are
okay.
not, so you got 12 inches, which is what you're
Yeah.
thinking about, and then there's 45s, which are about half the size. They're 7 inches, and they play at some of them play at different speeds, which is going to be the most challenging part of my set, is that I have 12-inch records, which a lot of dance tracks are released on, and those can play at varying speeds, and then I have 7-inch records which play at varying speeds. So I'm gonna just have to keep everything fucking straight, remembering like, okay, this turntable's set to 45 RPMs and this one's set to 33, and switching back and forth. So should prove to be an interesting time. And I have my nephew's wedding is that night too, and I'm coming from the wedding and then going to the bar, which is why I kind of wanted that late time slot anyway. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna probably be a little inebriated, not too bad, because I am gonna have to not fuck this up. So yeah, if you're in the Chicagoland area, Friday or Saturday, April 22nd, Rock Island Public House. You know where that's at. Come on out around midnight, and my DJ name is DJ Oi. That was my name back in the day.
Oi.
Oi. Well, that's like a punk rock skinhead thing. Oi, oi, oi.
Yeah.
Like oi music. So DJ
Yeah.
Oi, showing that I am both a DJ and a punk rocker. So it fit the juxtaposition of my personality well. Um. So yeah, that was Friday. Saturday, I see. I've made the mistake of letting my wife know how handy I am with the side business that I have. So of course she eventually is like, "Why do you do this shit for other people but you don't do shit at our house?" So Saturday I had to do shit at our house.
Oh
I
no.
know. I know. I fucking put in a window unit. I recaulked a fucking bathroom. I cleaned out the gutters. I did all kinds of shit. I recorded an episode of Y2K Movies this week, starring friend of the show, Mike Vanderbilt, is our special guest, where we talked about 2019's The Joker, or more importantly, the social impact that that movie had when it was released, where everyone was afraid that the incels were going to riot in the streets because of a Joaquin Phoenix movie, which obviously did not happen. But that was Saturday, and I was honestly I was so exhausted Saturday that I crashed out at like 8:30 at night.
Wow.
But the last thing I did before I went to bed Saturday night, and Asher, you'll appreciate this because you and I have been fucking rubbing our heads together for a while trying to come up with this. Me and my kids, we watched Attack of the Monsters, which is a Gamera movie, and it's the Gamera movie where the two little kids go to this other planet, and there's there's these like kind of like sexy Martian ladies,
Hmm.
and they want to come to Earth, but they have a kaiju that they're going to bring to Earth to attack Gamera, and it's this giant like knife-headed monster. And I was explaining, my kids had never seen a Gamera movie before, and I was explaining to them like, Gamera, he comes from outer space and he's a friend to all the children. And I was like, I bet you guys didn't know that you had a friend in Gamera. Like, at night, if you ever get scared, just call out to Gamera, and Gamera. So I started doing this whole thing like Gamera was God, and like you have this invisible friend that lives in outer space and all this shit. And I realized like we should start a fucking Gamera sex cult. Not with my children, but like this
Oh
cult that we're
God.
always, how we're doing like these cults. We're like, we need to come up with something, right? Like, we need to figure out a cult and like get everyone to give us their fucking money and like just have like wild orgies and parties and shit. And I'm like, we should start a Gamera sex cult, and we should do it right out of Cherubusco, Indiana, because that's where my in-laws have a bunch of farmland. I can get them to give me some of the farmland. We set up our commune out there. Cherubusco, as all of you cryptid enthusiasts know, is the home of the Beast of Busco, which is a what? Giant fucking turtle.
Yeah. Okay. All
All
right.
right. So we make pilgrimages down the road to Cherubusco, where we visit, where Gamera fucking, and we just like rebrand the Beast of Busco Gamera. Okay. And we started Gamera Sex Cult. So there's that.
Okay. That's your $1 million idea.
That's my $1 million
All
idea. We
right.
just need to we get the land. I'm actually going to be out that way at the end of the month. I'm going turkey hunting with my in-laws, so I'll plant the seeds then. Like, this is good commune land. What do you guys think about starting a turtle sex cult? Um, and then what else? Then yeah, Sunday. So Sunday I went to Cabela's and got all my turkey hunting shit, and then on Sunday we also recorded Weird April's Weird World
We did.
about
Oh
Idaho.
my God.
One of those two.
It was
One of
about
those
Idaho.
the states over toward the left. Um, and then that was it. The other thing I just want to give a super quick plug too, which it doesn't even matter this week, but so I'm doing this with Grindhouse Media. It's a gaming company. I had done way back when we started doing the show, way back 3, 4, 5 years ago. I was doing live streams with them where we were doing D&D, 18 and over D&D games, Mork Borg, Shadowrun, Vampire the Masquerade. And we took a little break, but now they're starting this stuff back up again. And we're doing weekly check-ins on the Gygax 75 challenge. So real quick, you can Google this shit. Gary Gygax, the creator of Dungeons and Dragons, he put together the 75-day challenge for you to come up with your own campaign setting for fantasy gaming. And it's me and 4 other gamers, and we're going through this thing together, and we're kind of building our own worlds. And I am working on my game that's going to be run at Gamehole this year, which hopefully I submitted. That's another thing I did on Saturday is I submitted my Home Alone Tomb of Horrors game for Gamehole in October, and I'm using this Gygax 75 challenge to do the whole thing, and it's going very well. It's a combination of Home Alone, John Hughes movies, Tomb of Horrors, which is a classic D&D module that I died at almost immediately this year at GaryCon. But if you're into gaming, I'm not going to waste too much time talking about that. If you're into gaming, look it up. Hit me up on Twitter, and I'll point you in the right direction. And it's every Thursday. It won't be this Thursday because I actually got to go see Evil Dead Rises with my son for next week's Y2K movies. Because I can't go see it this weekend because of the aforementioned reasons. I'll be DJing and going to weddings and shit. So we're gonna watch that. But the episodes that we've already done are pre-recorded. They're up on YouTube, so you can watch me. If you want to yank your crank to a video of me podcasting instead of just the sound of my voice, like I know at least two of you do, check out the YouTube channel for Grindhouse Media, and you can watch me actually in the same environment that I podcast in when I do the show. I'm in my son's bedroom, so you can see his fucking astronomy posters on the wall and shit, and you can see how dirty my kid's bedroom is at any given time. So
I did pop in there one time when you were in there.
was it frozen? Was I actually online or what?
You were not on camera.
Oh no, I am. See, that's the fucking yes. It doesn't, and I know we're talking about doing this in the fall. I don't know. Like when I do Discord streaming, I never use my live cam because all of us using our live cam on Discord, our webcam on Discord, like fucks it up. For some reason, when I do this streaming thing with these guys, the Grindhouse thing on Thursdays, it works like half the time. So like
Yeah.
if you go to last week's episode and you can watch it on YouTube and you go towards the end of it, JC had figured out something and we were showing up. Me and the chick were showing up. But like otherwise, like it doesn't always show all of us or something. I don't know. You're not, yeah, it's still worth watching, but I'm only visible for probably like a third of it, which is probably for the best anyway.
I was gonna come and heckle you. I'd be like, "Damn, Pato's kid's room is terrible." But
Like he's a shitty parent because if there's one thing parents love to do is to judge other parents. So all you
yeah,
parents out there that listen to this podcast, you can tune in and be like, Pat's son
great
needs to
up,
make his fucking bed. Look at
right?
that. Those blinds are dirty. When's the last time he dusted his kid's blinds?
You
You know?
purposely like start making sure, like telling your kid, like, "Hey, fuck your room up today. Make sure it looks awful." I'm going live.
No, I mean, so the first time I like came up here to do it. I've been on 2 episodes so far. And when I did the first episode, it was right after I dropped him off at the airport and I like ran home, came up here and jumped online. And I'm looking at the webcam and I'm looking at behind me. My kid's bed is all fucked up and the dog's sitting on it and shit. And I was like, oh my God, like this is terrible. And everyone else is like have their cameras set up like they're in their offices and they have like their bookshelf behind them with like all of their
Yeah.
gaming books and it looks like really like legit. And I literally look like I'm in a 12-year-old kid's bedroom because guess what? I'm in a 12-year-old kid's fucking bedroom, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like and then so when I did it last week I was like clean your fucking room, and he cleaned it up and it didn't look as bad. Still only got video a third of the time, but yeah, you could. I guess that's another reason to tune in is to try to look at the various, And then I'm sure when because my kid switches up here, you could take it anywhere. I'm sure he'll be in the background when that fucking Zelda game drops. So it'll be impossible to get him out of his room.
He's in the background with the shirt off.
How did you know? Is that you can just tell from me? But yeah,
No, it's because our kids are so similar. Like,
you have a daughter though? Like,
yeah, she don't wear a shirt at home. Oh, dude, listen, I wish I was fucking joking. I started popping my shirt off, and I'm, walking around with it. She's like, "Put a shirt on." I'm like, "You do it."
yeah, Mike, because you're right, our kids are the same age, they're very similar. I'm now like, I can't be naked in front of my kids. Like, I probably should have stopped, and I don't do it around my daughter. I'm very conscious of like around my daughter. I don't need to like ruin her. I don't want her going through life thinking every guy's hung like me. Like it'll just fucking ruin her for everybody. So I really do exercise modesty around my daughter.
Yeah.
My son, I'm not as because I only have and plus I have joint custody of her, so she's not here all the time. You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, Allison's here. I can make sure I fucking pants on. My kid, my son, it's different. Like he's up first thing in the morning making scrambled eggs, and I'm getting out of bed, and I sleep nude anyway. So it's like I now I try to use a bathrobe whenever I leave the bedroom because I mean, you shouldn't be doing that. Like the kid's 17 and you're walking around naked in front of him. Like that's just fucked up.
Yeah, when does
Right.
it stop?
I probably should have really done a hard stop like 2 years ago, and instead I'm just kind of like sliding like in the middle of like I'm on black ice with the public nudity, like it's
But
just
my kid is the fucking issue. Like I'm not like purposely trying to be naked around her. She just like walks into the bathroom and walks into my bed, and it's like, what are you doing? Get out of here! But yeah, she'll walk around with her shirt on, and so I'll take my fucking shirt off and be like, well, oh, you don't like this, huh? You don't enjoy this?
oh, that's,
Makes you feel weird, does it, huh?
oh my god, oh my god.
Fucking primitive. It's like when your toddler bites you and they're like, oh, well, bite them back. They'll never do it again, except, naked. So I parent in my life. So yeah. So
that's a chick thing. I don't know.
hey, I gotta establish my dominance here.
I have a go-to line whenever I can't even say it. I can't even say it. So I'm not even gonna bring it up. But
Okay.
we'll just all right. How was your weekend? Let's fucking get away from this.
Yeah, I did. I'm a professional, and I did professional things this weekend. As well as challenging my child by taking my clothes off in front of her. No, Thursday night I recorded with Nathan Isaacs and Jason Andrews. Nathan Isaacs is from the Penny Royal podcast, which I hear a lot of you listen to, and Jason Andrews is from Paranormal Patio, which I've been on before. And we talked about kind of like what we talked about today, more Mothman stuff. And so apparently they're doing some type of like limited run, like a docu-series, but for podcasting on different sets of events, different creatures and things like that. So that was really cool. It was a great conversation. I'm not sure when it'll come out yet. I'll let you guys know when that happens. And then this weekend I went back to the Secret Chamber House of Oddities and Artwork and worked more on the X-Files room there for the Blacklight alien invasion coming up. And that was good. I mean, it was tedious and it took a really long time, and my body was very sore afterwards because this was more of a physical decorating the room.
Yeah.
That kind of sucked. But, it's definitely renewed some type of interest into the local happenings of the UFO world in my general area. Like I've got all these sightings, all these reported sightings that I want to start sharing on social media to people, just because some of them are like so fucking out there. Like one of them like alleges that they were abducted. Like after like they saw this UFO and they were abducted. Well, it supposedly happened on the same street that my best friend lives on, so that's pretty cool.
Wow.
And so we were like, huh, I wonder if it was at her house. Who knows? It's like 50 houses on that street. Probably wasn't, but it's exciting stuff. So that was neat. So I got to hang out with Ann and hang out with Cherish and put all that together. And we're almost done. Next weekend we're going back. We're focusing more on props and what that looks like. She had brought up, she has this like 3-headed demon dog that kind of looks like the Thing, right? So she's going to bring it up, or she did bring it up, and it's on display. You can come see it. There's going to be like a little plaque with it kind of explaining the backstory of where it might have come from. So it's going to be a lot of fun. This event's going to be really, really cool.
And that's May 6th?
That's May 6th in Fairborn, Ohio at the Secret Chamber House of Oddities and Artwork. So, very cool.
Very cool.
And then eventually I got to do the whole, figure out how recording's going to work. Because I'm going to be recording while I'm there. I just don't really know for what yet. But we'll figure it out. So, it'll be neat. And then I didn't really do a whole bunch on Sunday, aside from just, being adult and just kind of do adult things,
We did Weird World Idaho.
Oh, that's right. We did Weird World Idaho. So that's right. I spent my Sunday afternoon learning about Idaho, which, do I recommend it? I don't know. I don't know, you guys. You have to subscribe to the Patreon to find out if I recommend that you visit Idaho for all your weird happenings. So.
It was good. You get at the very least, you'll get my hot take on Napoleon Dynamite.
Pat O shares a very spicy take that can only be allowed behind a paywall.
Right.
That can't.
If you thought this intro of this week's episode was off the Richter scale, wait till you hear about My feelings on Napoleon Dynamite. Holy shit! You know what? When you do subscribe and you do listen to this episode, don't wear socks because you're gonna get knocked clean the fuck off,
Clean the fuck off.
right off. Don't even bother. Don't even wear socks to this podcast, my friend.
Clean off. So yeah, so patreon.com/itsashers for the updated Weird World episode. I'm gonna be doing a bunch of stuff. I find myself having a bunch of upcoming free time in my very near future. So I'm going to be doing quite a bit over there. The Patreon just needs to be done. If you guys are already subscribed to it, just tell me what the hell it is you want over there. What's worth paying for? What do you like? It's your money. You're allowed to have some type of authority over there. But the Weird World episodes won't stop. I like the series a lot, so
I do too. I like it.
It mostly gives me an idea of like where I want to go and where I absolutely do not want to go. So the ocean, I know I fucking do not want to go there. So
right, I hear you.
There's that. But that was my weekend.
Cool.
So should we get into some news? You want some news?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, first and foremost, this morning, if you are one of the people that immediately listen to this episode as soon as it comes out, then you probably may or may not be aware that this morning, as of 10:30 a.m., the government is doing another UAP hearing. Yeah, Pato, you have any predictions for what you think may happen at this hearing?
I think that if it is groundbreaking and newsworthy, that we will release a special episode that evening.
Absolutely.
Talking about it. However, I don't think that's going to happen. It's kind of the same format as last one, where there's going to be an open and closed session. All they have kind of released is that they want to receive testimony that this subcommittee on emerging threats and capabilities is having an open and closed session to receive testimony on the mission, activities, oversight, and budget of the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. So maybe the budget stuff might be kind of interesting because we're going to see how much money they're going to throw at it. I don't know. I mean, they're kind of not saying a whole lot about it up front. So, the only witness they have listed is Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. How can I not say that? It's my fucking
right.
name. Director of the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. So I don't know. Probably. I mean, I'll be listening at work. I know that much. But I don't expect anything earth-shattering to happen.
Yeah, I don't either. Just like the last time, nothing happened. As far as budgets are concerned, we've gotten a taste of that because some of that shit was packed into the CARES Act. So, we know that this is a thing, right? I don't know. I just, some people are really spearheading this. They're like, oh, it's time. It's disclosure. No, it's not.
Why this one?
Not just this one, just this event surrounding UAP since the fucking Tic Tac video came out in 2017, which frankly I don't think is the best UFO footage out there.
Yeah.
Just if I'm being quite honest with you, that's not really groundbreaking. I think these credible witnesses who have been abducted is much more compelling evidence, right, than just some fucking dots in the sky. And maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm standing too close to the sun on this one, right? So I'm not impressed by little pieces of video footage of things floating around in the sky. I've got that, right? I've taken those. Oh, who cares, But maybe to the rest of the world, that is really fucking impressive. And it's impressive that the government's doing stuff about that, I guess. What they're doing, I don't think we'll ever really know. I don't even think they know what they're doing. I just think that for whatever reason, they have deemed these things as some type of potential threat. And so therefore they're trying to get to the bottom of what they are. I'd like to see what a day in the life of I don't even know the organization's name. But I'd like to see what the fuck they do. Like, what are you guys even doing over there?
That's a really good question. I think that we don't, I've never stopped and tried to visualize that myself. What are they doing?
What are they doing?
Right.
Because I know what I do, right? I know what I do. If I have a visual, right? Just UFO. We're just going to say UFO. We're not going to talk about alien contact, which I think is the focus that they should have on, but for whatever reason, that doesn't seem to be. Just with the UFO, if I get a UFO report, I don't really dig that too deeply into it. But if I really want to, first and foremost, is it Starlink? Because 80% of the time, it's just people seeing Starlink and freaking out about it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Starlink? Okay, it's not. Was there anything else that was recorded within that flight path at that time that it could have been? Oh, okay, it wasn't. Were there other reported sightings in the area? Sometimes there are, sometimes there aren't. And then that's about it. I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I don't have a craft that can go out into the sky and go look for this thing. The government probably does. Are they doing that? I mean, what exactly is it are they doing that is more than what your typical ufologist already does?
Well, that's why I think they're not really focusing on. I mean, I can't imagine they spend any time whatsoever on witness accounts of, I was outside in the backyard letting the dogs out and I saw this in the sky. Do you have video of it? No. Do you have photographic evidence? No. I mean, that's almost, there's absolutely nothing to be really gained from that, right? Except maybe cataloging someone's,
Right.
but there's no way to prove it. You can't go back in time. You know what I mean? Even if you do all the legwork that you just described,
Right.
which would realistically take a person, I don't know, 1 to 2 hours maybe. That's
Sure.
1 of 2 hours for them just to be able to say that this report that this person called in on wasn't this. It still doesn't say what it is.
Right.
That doesn't seem like a good use of time, right? I think that if anything, the only thing where you're actually going to make progress is if number one, you have actual video footage, and then number two, it comes from a credible source, right? It's so that you don't have to waste time seeing if the footage is doctored or is this some kind of fucking After Effects bullshit, right? We have footage from weather station, or we have something from the military, or even maritime or civilian aircraft, but something a little bit more substantial. And
Yeah.
we have the craft in this video doing stuff that doesn't that defies casual explanation. But even then, like, how many videos do we have already,
Right.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So you have
Exactly.
that footage, and what do? You have physicists and aeronautical experts study that footage just to tell you what. Okay, well, this is what it isn't, but it doesn't tell you what it is.
It doesn't. No.
So and like you said, it almost seems like the only thing worth doing at this point is to try to talk to as many contactees as possible
Yeah.
and try to form a coherent narrative. You know what I mean? Like if you talk to 100 contactees and 70% of them tell you at least stories that don't directly conflict each other, which
Right.
a lot of these do, and that's something that we need to deal with. Like everything's so like nebulous right now that like we can do an episode 1 week that says that UFOs are this, and we can do an episode 2 weeks later that says UFOs are that, and we don't need to do anything with the fact that those two stories conflict each other. These two contactees have stories that contradict each other. They build conflicting narratives, right? We don't.
Right.
It's not our job to try to streamline that. We're just like, well, this person said this, but okay, it's their job. It's now the all domain anomaly resolution office's job to try to piece together a consistent, coherent narrative,
Yeah.
and that's like I can't even, like you said, I can't even imagine where you would begin with that.
Right. I mean, what are you doing? But there are pieces of information that they're not fully disclosing to the public, which is an issue. And, that's where the distrust of the government comes into play. And I completely understand it. Like I said, the claim in the beginning of all this, Pat, was debris. We have debris from these things.
Right. That's
Fucking tell us,
that's
what does it look like?
that's the only thing you can really. I mean, that is probably the hardest science that you have at this point.
Right.
That is your smoking gun. That is the
Tell us
only
more.
thing. That's the only thing worth looking at.
I
Looking
want
at
more of that.
you will get nothing from the videos.
No, no,
Nothing more
you
from the
won't.
videos. It's a waste
You
of
know?
time.
And that's the issue. Is like, okay, so they came out, they made that claim again. That's not something that I just made up. That's not going around the rumor mill. Like, that is a legit fucking claim that came right from the Pentagon. They said that and then never talked about it ever again. Why? Is it because you found out that it was man-made and you were wrong? Is it because it's something else and you can't explain it? Say that shit. Get me interested. Make me feel okay that I'm spending tax dollars on this. Like, let's be, and that's what we're talking about with the transparency. That's definitely needed in this situation. Um, Other things they've talked about, disclosing, oh, we're going to be more transparent about this and that. You're right. They're not taking civilian reports. They probably should be, but they're not. Because if they could take civilian reports and start tracking flight patterns that way, I mean, at least you could take a pattern and you can kind of do a little bit more with it than just kind of these sporadic claims. But okay, fine, they're not doing that. What about the fucking Harvard guy that came forward and said that these pilots, their brains are being affected by encountering these things? You remember that?
Yes.
Are you guys gonna talk more about that? Or are you just saying this fucking guy that's a Harvard fucking scientist doesn't know what he's talking about? He's just not involved in this at all. Are we going to discuss that? Okay, they're a threat, but how? Is that how they're a threat? I mean, what what does this mean? So are we going to get more of that? No, probably not. We're probably not going to get anything, but maybe a couple of teaser videos and some more bullshit. But if we do, you better believe that you'll hear it all here on Wednesdays We Talk Weird. So
sure,
that's what I've got to say about that. Let me pull up my other news here. I got some other news.
I have one thing I want to talk about at the end of the news segment. That's it.
Okay, I'm battling a cat right now. I'm sorry.
I like how you like cuck your kid with your fucking tits. I keep coming back to that.
I don't cuck her.
Just like you assert dominance by having the bigger chesticles. Like
it's not. It's not
See
really
how good I look,
that.
God damn it. You think you'll ever look this fucking like what do you like what's that dynamic? I know what that would look like if I were to do I would never do that to my son. Not that I'm judging you. Because parents don't judge each other. We're friends. We don't do that. But that's like so bizarre. Like I don't know if that's like lady stuff.
No, it's very simple, right? I don't want to see my daughter's tits hanging out.
Yeah,
I'm not interested in that. It makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So she doesn't understand that, right? She doesn't get that aspect of it. So if I pull my tits out, then she understands. It makes her feel uncomfortable.
Is she in the mini bra phase yet? She's got to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my I don't even want to talk about it because it makes me feel weird. But yeah, we're over.
We don't have to talk about children's boobs on the show.
Save it for the Patreon.
Right, exactly. No, oh Jesus. But no, I mean, full transparency. I mean, that's all it is. Like I said, it's like that concept. Your toddler bites you bite him back, right? Show him that doesn't feel good. So, and that's the same concept here. Even though I never bitten my kid or anything, never had a biter. So,
well, not yet. I mean, they're only 12. We're 2/3 of the way there.
At this point in time, she bites me, I'm gonna punch her right in the fucking face. Like, don't you ever. She's old enough. She can take it. I need to stop. I'm really not endorsing child abuse. I'm really, really, really not. I don't hit my kid. You shouldn't either.
No, I know. And I think people with kids like understand this. But if you're somebody that doesn't have kids, you're like, these people are terrible. Or you have like infants.
Yeah.
And you don't know, but wait, just fucking wait before you.
If this is your first time listening to the show, I promise you I don't touch my kid. But
right. I'll shake the shit out of him, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fucking duct tape him to the wall and then go out to the bar.
Oh, fucking Benadryl? Hell yeah. That's your best friend.
Zanny the nanny?
Yep. No, we have very well loved kids beyond any measure. As a matter of fact, they're fucking spoiled. But yeah, that's mine is anyway. I can speak for mine. She's fucking little bastard.
Hey, you want to teach me a lesson? Take mine the fuck away from me.
Right.
Don't fucking threaten me with a good time. Don't come onto my podcast and threaten me with a good fucking time, all right?
Take her away. But yeah, like I said, it's just to show her that it makes her uncomfortable. And she'll think about it then. She'll be like, I don't want to see mom's
you know what we would do? As much as we hate the ocean, you know what me and you would do if they came down and took our kids away because of this podcast? We'd go on a fucking cruise. And I don't like the ocean. It's exactly what we would do.
Not me. You can have fun on the cruise, but
I'll go to Cuba. I can see what that shit's about.
Skipping the country, I'm going somewhere else.
Cuba, that's what I'm saying. We should go down to Cuba.
Cuba sucks. I'm going to Finland.
Oh, why? Because you don't like Cubans?
Yes, I'm also a
I
racist.
almost
I
said
don't like
Mexicans.
Cubans.
I was like, you don't like Mexicans? You can't go Cuba? No.
No, Cuba's not a good country, I guess.
I have a new surname in Espanol, actually.
Okay.
Cazador de Patos,
Okay. What does that mean?
the duck slayer,
Oh, Jesus.
because I killed ducks.
Okay,
Anyway,
so
go
as I
ahead.
was saying, news for the week. So this is interesting. We had our first official Nessie sighting of the year.
Nice.
The first official one. Now, of course, it's not the first reported, right? There's been others reported. But it happened on
First one to
April.
pop up on the webcam.
No, so they don't count the webcam sightings towards official sightings on the Loch Ness sightings website. So
Mm.
there's like a whole database, a whole organization that runs Loch Ness monster sightings, and they have some type of formula to say whether or not these sightings are legit or not. I don't know what it is, but this is their first recorded one. It happened on April 5th. 13-year-old Francesca, I'm not going to share her last name. All the news articles did. I think that's fucked up to do to a 13-year-old. Francesca and her family were driving along the loch, and she happened to catch a peek of, the creature, and not just the creature, but humps that followed with it. And she pulled out her phone. She ended up taking a picture. Her family members, her parents, also saw this anomaly, and were trying to find a safe place to pull over, but couldn't really find anywhere. And by the time, they kind of were able to stop at some point, that it was done. It was gone. But you can check out that photo at Loch Ness Sightings. I think it's LochNessSightings.com. I believe that's what I should know this by now. Yeah, LochNessSightings.com. So that's the official database, and all other previous years of sightings. Slow year for Nessie. Last year was a record breaking year, and we're in April, and this is the first sighting we've had this year. So
Yeah. Well, it'll ramp, and we know for sure it'll ramp up moving into the summer, but maybe not enough to catch up with last year.
I don't think it'll catch up now. Last year, like I said, was record breaking. I just don't think. My theory is that these things migrate somehow, and that explains it. But I've never really sat down and done the patterns like the U.S. government should be doing with their UAPs. But that's I don't live there, so if I don't live in a particular area, not that I don't find reports interesting. Nessie's one of my favorites, but I'm just going to be honest. If I don't live in a particular area, it's hard for me to investigate shit.
Yeah,
I'm,
I agree.
I'm a boots on the ground person.
I could see that challenge.
So, but that's all I had. Pato, you had something?
Yeah, it's like news slash shout out that I like to do during the news segment. So last week, friend of the show Daniel Thorndike recommended this podcast to me called The Flat Earth Files, and I decided to listen to it. And I know we've covered flat Earth before. This isn't me trying to promote flat Earth theory by any means, but he said, this podcast is really interesting because these guys take this really seriously, and maybe it's worth checking out. So I did, and I'm glad that I did because it is one of those curiosity rabbit holes that I'm going down right now, and some things that make this show a little bit noteworthy, so where I'm going to keep an eye on it, and you might hear me bring it up again, is that number one, it was started in November of last year. Okay, so it's been around for a little bit less than right around 6 months, maybe, and they already have 35 episodes. Okay, so he's putting out episodes at a pretty good pace. It's hosted by a guy named George who claims to be ex-Navy. And I've only listened to a handful of episodes, but of the two episodes that I did listen to that had guests, both his guests claimed to be ex-military as well. One of them was also an ex-Navy officer, and one of them, the most recent one that I'm listening to now that dropped just last Friday, was an ex-Marine. And what's interesting is, so these are people that have gone places, right? These aren't people that have, if they're to be believed, and I'm not going to claim false valor and say that they're lying about their service record, but if they're to be believed, they're people that have traveled the world in the armed services and have not seen anything in their travels that disproves flat Earth theory. Usually, you would think someone was like, "Well, no, I mean, I flew to Afghanistan and came back. Like I know that the Earth is," and they say no. When we flew to Afghanistan and came back, we took this really weird route and blah blah blah, and whatever their experience was, it backs up their belief to this theory. It's interesting also because of the buzzwords that they use, and this particular brand of flat Earth theory is uh, very has a very strong religious connection, which was not something that I was necessarily aware of. It uses a lot of buzzwords about the awakening, and people talk about their awakening experiences. Right? What's your awakening story? I was awakened by a neighbor who knew the truth, and they shared the truth with me, and then I was awakened. And when I tried to awaken my family, they turned their back on me. Or I was able to awaken my brother-in-law, and now we're both awake and we're trying to spread the truth to our family, like shit like that. Like, it's very cultish language, which is not what I expected. um it's definitely a more straightforward. A lot of the flat earth theory videos that we kind of watch on YouTube are very like comical. Like, you look at it and you're like, this is ridiculous, and it's not to be taken seriously. And these guys claim disinformation. They're like, that's the reason when you search flat earth and only the most ridiculous YouTube videos show up with people making scientific claims that don't make any sense, is because that's the algorithm that they, using air quotes, want you to, those are the videos they want you to see. That's not the truth. That's actually preventing you from being awakened. And if you want to be awakened, read these authors, familiarize yourself with these theories. There's supposedly a documentary, which I'll probably get around to watching this week, just to watch, called Level, that I just saw is on Tubi. God bless Tubi. I didn't fucking cancel
Oh
your
yeah.
Netflix, cancel Hulu, get fucking Tubi. It's on Tubi. I'm gonna give it a watch and report back if I get around to it. Got a lot of shit to watch this week, but I can make time for this. Level. It's a 2021 documentary about flat Earth. So yeah, it's just I don't think I've seen the flat Earth theory promoted this kind of like rigidly, and like it's just a different presentation of it, and it really kind of caught me off guard. And I'll say this, their website, they have a website called theflatearthfiles.com. When Daniel recommended the podcast to me, and he's not a flat earther either, so I'm not fucking trying to act like he's a nutball, but he just said, hey, you should check this out. This is really interesting what's going on over here. And when I went to the website last week, they have one of those old school, like early 2000s website counters, and it was at like 500 and something visitors. And when I went back today, kind of doing a little bit of preparation for today's show, there was just about 100 more. So in less than so it's in the high 600s, right? So this thing is building up steam fast, right? I mean, it went from the website's been around for a couple months, and it got over 100 new visitors in the past week alone. So it's kind of building momentum, and a lot of these guests that this guy have on. Um, they'll talk about how they just were awakened within the past month or two, and they were awakened because of this show or some other show. He's part of a podcast network, which is the other thing that really caught me off guard too. Excuse me. That when the first episode that I listened to, before the episode aired, they had an advertisement for Lurie's Children's Hospital. I was like, motherfucker, what? Like, how does he have that kind of sponsorship? I have no idea how that works. But he's running ads for legitimate shit before his show. And the fact that he has these guests on that are all ex-military, of course, the paranoid person in me, I don't know if this is a psyop. I don't know if these people are full of shit. Once again, I'm very hesitant to call stolen valor, but I don't know. I mean, the fact that these are all Navy, Marine people, ex-military people that are flat earthers, do they are they in a disinformation operation? Or did they see something when they were out there that us landlocked people that don't travel that much don't see? or did they just lose their fucking mind because of Gulf War syndrome or some shit? I don't know. But it's interesting, and if you ever need a rabbit hole to go down one of these nights, check it out because it's piqued my interest, and I'll probably check back, or I might lose interest in it tomorrow. Who fucking knows? Um, but it's something that I think I'm gonna spend a little bit of time on. And that's all I got
But
to say about that.
um, I respect that you try to listen to that side of things, but I can't personally endorse the ridiculousness. If they've been on planes, they know that the fucking Earth is round. You can see it from the plane. That's stupid. They're stupid.
I don't know. Supposedly Latin and NASA Latin means deception. Let me see if that's even true because that was something they said today. I was like,
That's not
really?
even true. I'm just telling you right now. Sounds like a fucking cult. That's what it is. They're trying to start a sex cult. It's that simple. Whatever. I mean, hey, you know what? Critical thinking is very important.
All right, here's the thing. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you that it sounds like they're starting a cult. That's actually kind of my point. And
Right.
I don't disagree with you that it's ridiculous. And sometimes when these people are talking, they they really kind of it feels like very bad acting, right? But why is it being put out there?
Because
Is
it's
that
making them money.
is it no? So listen, I could buy that. This is some grifter who who's lying about his military record, which once again, fucking be real careful when you claim that shit. But maybe he's lying about his military record. Maybe all of this is just trying to fucking con the rubes out of a few fucking whatever YouTube views or whatever, and that's it, right? Or maybe it's a psyop or something. It does. I don't think it's real. Like, no, 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 no. Listen to me. Like, the idea that like these guys are really ex-military, and that they really fucking saw something that we didn't see, or that they really know more. Like that is like the percentage of a chance that that is fucking what's happening here is infinitesimal. I think what's more likely is either they're all full of shit, or they're fucking telling and they're trying to make money, or they're telling the truth. They're telling the truth about who they are, and this is some kind of fucking psyop or something.
Well, no, they could believe what they're saying. I've met plenty of flat earthers, and they fucking genuinely believe that the Earth is flat. Doesn't matter what you tell them. At the end of the day, they've got a straw man argument that's like, boy, that's just what the government wants you to think, and it's like that's just ridiculous. But okay, I can't have a conversation with you because clearly not you, but them. People do believe that. There are people that actually believe that birds aren't real, even though that whole thing was started as a fucking joke conspiracy. Um,
No, I know
yeah,
the joke. I didn't think that there's people that actually then bought into it.
oh yeah, there's tons of people that believe in all kinds of weird fucking shit that clearly if you just did just the smidgen of homework on, like, you would pretty quickly find out that, like, oh, okay, this is bullshit.
You could go to PetSmart and buy a bird and then cut it up and see what's in it.
They're
I'm
still
not.
going to
I'm
be
not
like,
advocating you do that, but I'm
they're going to
just
be like,
saying.
that's a, oh yeah, robotics have gotten good these days.
Right.
There's always some explanation, and I don't know what it is about people like that just want to feel so fucking special so bad. I just want to belong to something that they really convince themselves that
Well,
that shit is real.
when they talk about their awakenings, it is like, it sounds like they're describing a psychotic break. Like, I was always so confused about life and nothing made sense to me anymore. And I was worried about, the pandemic. It sounds like a lot of post pandemic trauma too. So, like,
Yeah.
if that's why, even if from like a socio-cultural point of view, like, it's still interesting to listen to this shit because the thing is that it's the way it's presented, like, it sounds like you're listening to a rational person. Very, very, very rational. It's not ranty. It's not like somebody that's like, not like Alex Jones or anything like that. Like, it sounds very cool, calm, collected, like like a couple of Sox fans talking about how they think the season's going to go, right? Like a couple of sports fans talking about their favorite football team. Is these people talking about how accepting the flat Earth renewed their faith in God, and about how their awakening was in their relationship with the truth and all this shit. And like it's like you said, it's very culty. But it's like, Jim Jones and David Koresh, they never put out podcasts. What if they did? What would it sound like? And it kind of sounds like this. And I'm
Yeah.
not getting swept up into it. Like but like one of the things they said was like, next time you watch a movie, pay attention to how many globes you see in the background of every scene. That's them inundating you with the spherical conspiracy. That's how they just subliminally work it into everything that you see and hear and read. Just watch it next time you're watching a TV show. Just see
Yeah,
it in
because
there.
spheres just don't exist.
Right, because like globes, like yeah, it's just like just see about how many globes they put in movies. Well, when I watched Attack of the Monsters with Gamera, I didn't see one fucking globe.
Not
All
one
right,
globe. I'm gonna start
no,
looking for globes in all the movies that I watch.
right, but then in the same breath, they were trying to talk about how Pirates of the Caribbean 3 at the World's End has an ice wall, and that's like a message that fucking flat Earth is real. And it's like, okay, now wait a minute. So all of these movies that have globes and shit in them, that's subliminal messaging trying to brainwash the masses. But somehow Disney, of all fucking people, slipped one past the goalie with Pirates of the Caribbean 3. Motherfucker, like that does your logic doesn't even make sense. Like that, why? How did that happen? You know,
Yeah. Well, we've never covered flat Earth, mostly for this reason.
I
There's a
think we
guy.
have. I
No,
don't
we haven't. Nope, never have.
really.
We haven't. There's a guy who was like obsessively trying to come on the show to tell us about flat Earth, and I didn't want to have him on the show because I will call him a fucking moron to his face, and make him feel badly that he even attempted. But the problem is that guess what? The guy has such a large following that I didn't want that smoke.
Do you remember what his name was?
Yeah, he's Flat Earth Dave.
That might be this guy because this guy's just name is Dave. He doesn't say a last name.
I think his show was called something different, but I wouldn't be surprised
He
if it.
had another podcast before he had this.
And yep,
So
that's the same guy.
yeah, he had another podcast but it was not just flat Earth stuff. And then 6 months ago, he started the Flat Earth Files just for the flat Earth stuff. And his name is Dave something, and it's part of like some network. I wonder if it's the same dude.
It probably is because he's hardcore about this. And so he'll go on people's shows and people will explain to him like why he's wrong. They'll be like, "Look, I know that you're saying this, but look, this is why you're not correct." And then he will go and have his fucking army of followers come and fucking attack you. He'll fucking dox you and everything because you don't agree with the shit. So
Yeah,
he's
I won't
never
fuck with him. I mean, like, I won't. Yeah, I hear you. I don't want to deal with that shit. And
never
here's the
coming on
thing
this
too.
show.
Like, I'm listening to the scientific arguments that they're making, and I'll be honest with you. Like, I don't think the Earth is flat. But if you asked me to scientifically argue against their scientific claims, I couldn't do it. Like, I could use common sense, but like, I'm not pretending that like I know why their experiments are bullshit when they talk about like they talk about like how water's level, like everything should be leveled, and how come I don't know. I don't know, but I don't know enough to be like, well, actually, blah blah blah.
Well,
I
that
feel
was the idea. It's like I do know people that have gotten really weird into that rabbit hole and they can disprove all the things. And we were talking about bringing them on with this dude and then
right.
having them pick their shit apart because it's not because I couldn't do the research and I
I don't
couldn't do it and
want
dig it up right. I don't fucking want to because it's just bullshit and it's stupid. Like, I got other things to research, like the fucking
it's like
calendar.
it's like I
You
don't need
know?
to. I'm not gonna like waste my time trying to learn how to argue with someone in German. Like I don't fucking care. Like I'll just walk
Right,
away.
just for
Yeah,
them to go and get their fucking army of morons to attack me. Yeah, no, thank you. No, thank you. I'm
yeah,
not interested in that. So yeah, that guy will never come on the show, never. And it's not because I believe in censorship or whatever. It's because it's my fucking show, and I want you guys to learn something. And you're not going to learn a damn thing with Flat Earth Dave on it.
right,
And that's just that. But that's just me. And that's just how I run things. I mean, I don't know. If you guys really want a flat earth episode, if you really are on the fence about it, hey, I'll do it. I'll do pretty much whatever on this show, but I'm not going to bring somebody like that on who's just a fucking bully on the internet. Like,
And not only that, but like, look, I really take no joy in shitting on other people's beliefs, as ridiculous as I think they are. If that is what helps you go to sleep at night, if that's what gives you your sense of community, I'll talk shit about it over here, but I'm not gonna fucking try to like piss in your Cheerios, man. You go over there and you believe whatever you want. You know what I mean? As long as you're not forming an army that's going to try to march down the street and enslave my children, I don't give a fuck. You want to live where you want to live, and you want to have your little message boards where you guys talk about whatever. Go ahead. I'm not looking to hurt anyone's feelings. I know that sounds crazy coming from me after these past couple of weeks, especially, but like seriously, that's the way I feel about it. I would never want to confront that dude, and I feel like even like kind of laughing about it now, it would be easy for someone to fucking I don't know, whatever.
like Pato said this about you.
Yeah, because apparently that's what happens around here. You know what I mean? Someone's, I'm gonna have that motherfucker messaging me on Instagram. You know?
Yep, I understand. No, I don't care. I'll talk shit about Flat Earth Dave
Jesus.
right
Yeah.
here in front of everybody. Fuck that fucking guy. He's an asshole. And no, Pat, I agree with you for the most part. I'm pretty tolerant of people's beliefs, but when I talk about people's beliefs, I mean like, what the fuck happens when we die? I don't know that. You don't know that. Fucking Flat Earth Dave doesn't know that. However, when we're talking if the Earth is round or flat, well, it's fucking not flat. It's just not.
Can you imagine if they all joined forces?
They do,
Like
and they're with Dave.
No.
and
I'm
that's the
talking
issue.
about. I'm talking about the
Oh,
fucking.
everybody. Everybody.
What kind of album cover that would look like?
Jesus
The
Christ.
fucking Injustice gang right there. Fucking Lex Luthor and the Joker and fucking
The Injustice gang.
yeah. Oh my god, that would be fucking great.
But yeah,
No,
no,
it
I
wouldn't.
don't have a
Please don't.
problem.
Please don't unionize against me.
Oh my
You know.
God. I mean, no, I'm just saying. I will tell people, because again, that's what's important to me. What's important to me is sharing the facts, as close to the facts as I can get. If there are any, if there are not any, then hey, let's talk about that. And shit like that is just ridiculous, and I just won't entertain it. You guys know. Just go listen to our QAnon episode. See how fucking mad I get about people like that. They're just dumb, and they're sending our fucking. They're killing our planet, right? They're fucking ruining the future for our children, and they shouldn't be here anymore. I mean, just quite frankly, if I'm honest with you, that's how I feel about it, because they're not doing. It seems harmless, but it's really not. It's really not. It's really hurting us as a species, and that's why I feel like I can and should say something about it. Otherwise, I'm just sitting by, a bystander, minding my own fucking business, and nothing changes. I believe in change. I believe in being the change, and so I'm going to share. Not flat Earth, because that shit is ridiculous.
Not when we have Owlman to discuss.
Exactly. We got more important things like Owlman, which is kind of another. I will go on a little bit of rant about Owlman, but at the end, I'll go at the end. So Owlman is something that gets brought to my table a lot. People want to know, do I think that this is Mothman? Do I think that there's a correlation here? Well, let me tell you guys the story about Owlman. How's that sound? Kind of.
Yeah.
So today we are recording this on April 17th. It is the anniversary of the most famous Owlman sighting out there. Some people dub it the first Owlman sighting, but that's not technically true. So I'm going to start like any good story starts, and I'm going to start at the very beginning. So in 1926, the Cornish Echo newspaper had posted an article about two boys that were chased by a man-like bird. Okay. And it was really terrifying. The boys ended up, having to hide from this creature. And, they did. And then it never chased them again. Just some weird, obscure article that's out there. And we know that sometimes these weird, obscure, ancient articles, a lot of people like to put a lot of stock in them. But we know that maybe sometimes that's not a good idea. It was accompanied by an alleged sketch of the creature that chased these boys. And, I guess it does look pretty horrifying. But then kind of there was no word about it again for a while until this is very strange, but until artists Max Ernst And Lenora Carrington, okay, came to the area, which, if you're not familiar with either of them, they're both surrealist artists from, I'd say probably peaking and starting around the 1930s and so on and so forth. Came to the area and allegedly they had heard the story about these two boys being chased by this man bird thing and had attempted to um attempted to have rituals to conjure this creature up. And, some people think that maybe they were successful. Some people think that maybe they weren't. Some people think that that part of the story is complete and utter bullshit and we can't really prove the origins of it. Okay. Now, Max Ernst and Lenora are both dead now. So we can't be like, hey, did that really happen? We'll kind of get more into the validity of that potential story little bit later on. So they visited the area in 1937, had their little ritual, conjured up this thing. Um, and then that pretty much shoehorns us right into this 1976 sighting. Again, allegedly, two sisters, June and Vicky Melling, were vacationing with their family in Monin, okay? And they had heard weird, like, hissing noises in the woods kind of by them. And they decided to go investigate. So they asked their dad, "Hey, can we go out there?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." Then they're walking through the woods, and they come upon the church right there. There's a church, a very famous church in that area. I think it's called the St. Peter's Monin Church or some shit like that. Doesn't matter. And allegedly, what they had seen was a winged humanoid with glowing red eyes and claws like blacksmith pincers. And it scared the shit out of them. So they ran all the way back to their dad. They told their dad what happened. And dad supposedly took them to the police station where they came up with a police sketch. And then dad passed that information on to a guy by the name of Tony Duck. I think it's Shields or Shells, or it's like Shield, but with no D and an S. Um, and gave that information to him. And then he has been the one that has been reporting on all of these Owlman sightings for the most part. So, um, let's stop for a second. We'll talk about the details about June and Vicky Melling. Both were just little girls, 12 and 19, or 12 and 9. So very, very young kids. Tony did not speak with the girls. The dad said that he refused to let the girls be interviewed and wouldn't let him speak to them. But the dad did give the sketch of the creature to him. And, yeah, I mean, that's basically it. I can't find if these two people exist. It was 1976 and they were young. They should still exist now. I can't find them. I don't know. Pato, you got anything to say about that particular encounter?
Not about this particular encounter. When I kind of looked into the whole Owlman thing, two things that struck my interest is that number one, Owlman was a DC comic book character that predated all of these encounters.
That's correct.
Yeah, he was the Elseworlds version of Batman. So, I mean, he's something that Owlman, the phrase Owlman, was something that existed in pop culture previous to these sightings.
Hmm.
Unlike Mothman, which was something that we just kind of came up with, but Owlman, there was actually precedence for. And then the other thing that I thought was interesting is the use of owls in, I guess you would say, occult imagery.
Okay.
Um, it's something that Bohemian Grove, um, the mascot for that is a fucking owl. Owls are seen as totems of wisdom, and they're used sometimes in occult imagery. So I don't know. I mean, I guess more than a moth, at least. The owl at least has some kind of ties to religion. I saw that there was a movie that came out that used it as the totem for Moloch, which usually is a bull that people supposedly back like in the way back in the days like during the time of the Israelites and stuff. Um, some of the other tribes in that region were reported to sacrifice their children to Moloch, and a lot of people think biblical scholars think that that was a mistranslation. Moloch wasn't an actual deity; it was more of a just kind of like phrase that people used to describe uh, uh, evil. You know, like don't sacrifice your children to evil. It wasn't a specific deity that was being worshipped. Um, Kind of like the same way hell's not really real. In the Bible, they talk about Sheol and like and people that somehow morphed into this concept of hell. But what it really meant was like the desert, like you were just being banished to outside the walls of the city.
Oh yeah,
You'd be
that
cast
deserts
as
are hell.
yeah, you were cast aside from the tribe, and that was and Sheol meant abandonment. It meant being cast out. And then just through different translations and interpretations, that somehow became the concept of hell, which romance writers like John Milton with Paradise Lost or Dante with the Inferno kind of just capitalized that, and then later formed the concept of hell that we teach our children about. Some people teach their children today, but it's not really based on anything. Same thing with Moloch. Same thing with the owl. I know I'm kind of getting a little bit off here, but I'm just saying that owls have a little bit more symbolism attached to them than the Mothman. So I don't think it's necessarily an apples to apples comparison. But whether or not this thing is real in the first place, I have no fucking idea. You know,
Well, Mothman's name is not Mothman because there's any type of relation to moths at all. It's not because it looks like an insectoid at all. It's because what people were reporting seeing was Batman. And Batman, not like a bat crossed with a man, Batman like the fucking character Batman, because it looked so human, but could fly and was strange. They would report Batman. They didn't want to put Batman on the headlines because they didn't want to get sued, so they kind of
that's
made it fun
right.
and made it
That's
Mothman.
that's right.
So
That's
it's
right.
not,
That's right. That's right.
yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't have
Okay.
anything to do with its physical appearance except for if you backtrack and really look at it. But, you
So
know,
then the physical appearance of the two are kind of similar, right?
very similar. In some reports of Mothman, he doesn't have like a, there's no neck to it. It's just like a kind of a head on a body with like wings. When you look at like the flying head from Algonquin lore, which is also very similar. I mean, again, it's just a giant head with wings on it with glowing red eyes. So, there are variations of what Mothman can look like. I find that most of the reports seem to be more human with wings, shadowy human with wings than anything. But there are different variations of what it is people are seeing.
Hmm.
And this does fit some of those variations. You have people that think they're looking at a tree stump and then it rises and shoots up into the air and opens its eyes with its glowing red eyes and it's Mothman. Who knows? Maybe all of these things aren't related at all, or maybe they are. Who knows? And I like that you had kind of brought up the fact that the owl man character was prevalent at the time because well, guess what? Mothman prophecies came out in 1975.
Hmm.
So the Mothman of Point Pleasant, I mean, was already well known, and it's not like John Keel was nobody. He had already done all kinds of work on other things. So, I think it's pretty safe to say that this Doc Shields guy knew of Keel, knew about John Keel, was aware of John Keel. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that guy later on. I just want to go ahead and present some more of the sightings and some more of the evidence. There's a couple of them, but I had some in particular. He was seen a little bit later that year in like June, July ish, by another teenage couple, again, flying around that same church tower. Um, he was seen in 1978 by an anonymous couple. They described seeing a silver-ish human-bird hybrid that flew away, and after it flew away, in the direction that it flew off in through the tree line, they could hear like static noises, which is interesting. In 1995, and this one isn't really attributed to the Doc Shields guy at all. This one's kind of a one-off. An American tourist had written a letter directly to Simon Parker of the Western Morning News describing how she had seen the creature, saying things like it was a vision out of hell and it's really changed her worldview. Now, supposedly, she worked at the university there in Chicago I'm sorry, she didn't work there. She was studying marine biology. And, that's what she says. But again, anonymous letter, who knows? Who knows? And then in 2003, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. 1996, we have a woman reportedly seeing balls of light around the church. That was another thing that was associated with this that was pretty similar to some of the Mothman sightings, is that you had these weird lights in the sky. UFOs, disembodied lights, who knows? But she saw one 2003. Two teenagers also saw these strange pulsating globes around the church. And then it seems that the last Owlman sighting took place in September 2009 by a 12-year-old girl. So, one thing that seems to take place in a lot of these sightings is that it really seems to show itself to preteen teenage girls. That's true, though. That's the majority of these witnesses.
Yeah.
Are very young women, but even up to like college age women, it seems. What the fuck's that about? It's kind of weird.
I've never been one. I mean, like, give me some insight here. Is there something that as a preteen girl yourself, you live with one now? I mean, does she commune with spirits?
Probably.
Is the veil thin around her or something, or
So
what's going on with those things?
there is an alleged statistic. I've never checked the evidence, but the statistic says that women have more encounters with cryptids, aliens, ghosts, all those things than men do.
I will say this, that I had I was experimenting with salvia back in the day, which was like this herb that was supposed to induce visions and all this shit. And you used to be able to buy it online, and I think I got a pound
Yeah.
of it from Brazil or something. And I bought it and we smoked it. Never really did anything. It never did shit for me. But my girlfriend at the time, we smoked a bunch one night, and man, she was on another fucking planet. And she was seeing all kinds of things around the room. And something that she took pottery class in high school. And this was like we were right out of high school. We were like maybe 1920. And one of her pots came to life, and the face on it was talking to her and stuff. Like, she had like a really intense, scary experience where she honestly, and I mean, I haven't talked to her in years, but for a long time maintained, even after it wore off, that she was in communication with fucking shit. Like, and I was like, why did nothing happen to me? Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm the one that paid for this shit. I was very upset about it. And I looked online, and it said basically the same thing, that women, for whatever reason, have better luck with this substance. And that's something they have a better chance to commune with the spirits or whatever,
Yeah. It's really interesting. I haven't backed the science. I haven't gone over the numbers, but that is what people say. Bigfoot encounters happen mostly to women. Even though majority of people out in the woods are men.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Is there anything to that? Who knows? Maybe that's just an outdated statistic that, nobody's really checked these days. I have no idea. I haven't. But, in this case, it does seem to be a trend, right? It does seem to be, there was something, if this thing existed at all, it seems to have, again, made itself pretty well known to, mostly, preteen girls. So I don't know. But let's talk about this guy that all these sightings are coming from. See, here's the rant I'm going to go on for a second. What's really annoying to me, right? That I wake up, I get on social media, and I post this sighting, right? I post the anniversary of this sighting, and I've got people just like wanting to tear me the fuck apart.
Why?
Because they're like, oh yeah, but oh that it's a hoax because that guy and this that and that. Let me tell you, people, something. Don't you ever fucking come to my social media. Don't ever fucking come to me as a person, and don't ever fucking try to school me on fucking Mothman lore. And I know that sounds like a really weird fucking hill to die on, but like, that's my shit right there. Don't you fucking do that. That's like you going to your doctor and then fucking telling your doctor what's wrong with you. Your doctor don't want to hear you say that shit. because guess what? They went to school and they learned and they got their degree to become a doctor, and you're not. I busted my ass doing this Mothman research. Don't you fucking come to my page and you come and try to tell me anything about the Mothman. You're not telling me anything that I don't already know. Okay. So people are like, because I guess they're assuming that like I'm spreading the story as if like it's fact, as if it actually happened. Even though I said, a lot of people believe this is part of an elaborate hoax. And so now I'm not credible because of that. And I'm not saying that like on the grand scheme of things, there are people that think that I'm not credible. I'm just saying that just as an individual, yeah, don't do that. Don't do that shit. Because I know what I'm talking about. So here's the part that I was leaving out of that post because again, I'm also running a show that I would like to make money off of. I want people to listen to it. Is that I don't think this thing exists. I don't. And I'm going to tell you why. So Doc Shields, okay, is a fucking nutbag, right? Go and like look at the history of this guy. First of all, he's like the P.T. Barnum of the occult, okay? He proudly like boasted that he was a magician and he would put on magic shows and things like that. However, he also claimed that he could like telecommunicate with cryptids. Like he could have mind speak with them and like could conjure them at will and things like that. And like if that happened, if that were real, then like that guy would be fucking rolling in a bunch of money because he would have discovered a bunch of cryptids, right? He could like pinpoint where they are. And that didn't happen. Like this guy is a known fucking, con artist. And it seems very suspicious that the only reports of this creature, aside from like maybe that 1926 sighting, and again, he could have had access to that because he is into these things and he could have seen that story and that could have been a legitimate story, but he ran with it. He could have made up the story about the two artists that fucking conjured up this thing. Okay. He could have done that single handedly. And then all of these reports fucking made them up. It's not hard to do. So I don't, people want it to be a thing. They do. They absolutely want it to be a thing. But just because like you read it on a wiki page somewhere on the internet doesn't mean that it's real. Like you actually have to backtrack and like dig and find out where that information is coming from. And when your source of information is a guy that says that he can telepathically speak to cryptids, that's not a good source, my guy. That's just not where it should be coming from. Pato, did you come across, because that's the thing about it. When you try to research this stuff, you don't really come across that guy like that. Did you come across anything about this fella?
No, I didn't. I didn't do too deep a dive into this one because I knew you'd have all the T's crossed and the I's dotted. So I just kind of did a cursory, like, okay, when would this happen? Oh, it happened in the 70s. And when was Owlman in DC Comics? Oh, 1964. And that was it. And then, I saw the Moloch stuff and I read that for a little bit. And then I listened to a podcast about the flat Earth.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well,
this podcast episode was very heavy. I front loaded this one. I did all my work up front, and then I get towards the
oh,
back end, and I just kind of put my feet up and I listen to you talk.
is that because you knew that I know what I'm talking about? Is that,
Yes.
yeah?
Why am I gonna try to cross swords with this one? You know what I mean? I think it's interesting, and I think it's very cool that, like, as much as we, the Mothman is like a thing here in the States, to
Sure.
be like, in Britain they have one and they call it Owlman. And it's like,
Right.
wow, it's like a Royale with cheese because they got the metric system and all this shit. Like, yeah, like that sounds like something that would make sense, that this creature would exist across the pond and have a slightly different name that actually makes more sense when applied to art. If you, like you said, when you talk about the descriptions of the Mothman, it really does kind of fit an owl.
Sounds similar, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, all that stuff kind of lines up. But like you said, if it comes down to the reports themselves, and if they're not credible, if the witnesses aren't credible and the reporting agency isn't credible, then you just got to kind of dismiss it as much as you want it to be true, and as much as you want this little piece of the puzzle to check all the boxes and fit really nicely and neatly up against the other stuff. If it does not fit, you must have quit. You got to throw it out. You know?
Well, throwback to our OJ episode. Yeah, well, exactly. And, do I want this thing to be real? Of course. Of course I do. I want all the Mothman sightings to be real. That's what I want in my heart of hearts. I don't want to be the bad guy and like rain on your parade. And that's why I'll make posts about these things and kind of share that little tidbit of information. Because it is fun. I still want it to be fun. However, again, I'd be doing a disservice if I didn't do my job correctly. And I didn't really want to, I didn't want to, put all my cards on the table up front. I wanted to give you guys something to come back and fucking listen to and reference. So, um,
Well, look, we've never caught. There's a lot, and I'm mind you, the same time all of this, I mentioned this on the Idaho episode, but I'll mention it for the sake of our cheap ass listeners on the our regular episode. I'm in the process of reading Lyle Blackburn's Lizard Man book of Bishopville, and you realize that these stories that and not to take anything, I'm not. This is not me talking shit about Lyle. God knows I love his hot sauce, but like for that whole phenomenon to be deemed book worthy, they had one footprint.
right,
They had a handful of sightings from what were deemed believable witnesses,
right.
and that's it. And what does it take for a witness to be deemed believable? We don't think they were lying, and they didn't change their story after a couple years. You know what? I've told lies, and I've kept my story straight over years before. Like
Sure.
now I'm a scumbag, but I'm just saying, like, hey man, I don't know I don't know who broke your windshield, mom. I still don't know who did that shit. Or you with your sister shaving your hair. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, how long did you uh, I'm gonna try to say, how long did you keep that line going? You
Well,
know
it's
what I
just,
mean?
it's just nobody knows except Bill and everybody listens to the show and my dad, and that's it.
Right. So he ain't telling nobody. So like for these, what differentiates the stories that we believe versus the stories we don't believe? It's
Right,
not really physical evidence because we don't have a whole lot of physical evidence of any of this
right.
shit. It's not like we got one in a cage somewhere. The stories that we believe, what the only thing that kept the outcome of this episode being different was that guy proved himself later on through various other avenues to be a non-trustworthy source.
Exactly.
And
Yes.
just as easy as that could be used to disprove this whole thing, hell, what if this was the one time that guy was on the level? That's why credibility is so fucking important. But like, I, we're gonna check this. We're gonna check the probably not fucking true box for this one because that dude's a huckster. But what if he wasn't a huckster? With the same evidence, maybe you'd be inclined to believe it.
Mhm.
That's how flimsy all this stuff really is. It it comes down to credibility, and credibility is something that can't always be proven with a fucking ruler,
Right.
right? It's just like, oh, I don't know. I think I believe the guy. I'm reading this book and like they're talking to the sheriff of that area at the time, right? And this sheriff is like a legit sheriff. Like he spent like 30 years in law enforcement, did all this shit. He's had a very blue collar, like upstanding career. No weirdness, no signs of mental distress or anything. And he's sitting there, and Lyle and Cindy Lee are interviewing him, and he's telling them these stories, and he's telling them, yeah, well, I interviewed this kid and I believe him. And Lyle then is saying, and this guy that I'm talking to seems on the up and up. He seems believable. I believe this guy and he believed that guy. Therefore, I'm thinking what the original guy said was true. We're saying that this witness was true, but there's no real way of knowing.
Right.
You're just taking other people's word for it. You know what I mean? You're trusting your own bullshit detector, and you're trusting this guy's bullshit detector. My bullshit detector on this guy is good, and his bullshit detector on that guy should be good. So, I don't know.
Well, right. I mean, and I agree with that. And that's not to say, again, I'm not trying to piss on anybody's parade here. That's not to say that there aren't similar creatures to the Mothman seen around the world. As a matter of fact, that's what I'm out here to kind of prove and draw those ties to. But I'm going to ruin my credibility if I sit here and tell you that I believe the Cornish Owlman is real and that it is the exact same creature, because I don't believe if it is real, and I don't believe that it is, but if it is, then I believe that yes, it is too similar, and it would be the exact same creature. However, I just don't buy the story. And that's because I can't speak to the witnesses. I can't talk to them. I never have. Maybe if I get to talk to one day, maybe if I find fucking June and Vicky Melling, I can talk to them. And fucking Lord knows I try. Listen, I'm Facebook friends with everybody. Okay. It's true. I've tried to find these women. They exist, unless they both died in a horrific car accident on the way home from the holiday that weekend. Who knows? I guess maybe they could have. I try to do my homework and I try to do as best as I can. But I've hit a wall, and the only thing that I can go off of is that the only fucking guy that was really, leading the way in these sightings is full of shit because there's no way he's telepathically communicating with cryptids. That's just not happening.
Mhm.
That's just not. That didn't happen. That part's not real. And I don't need evidence to show me that that's not real. I just know that it's not. So and that's the most that I can go off of. But it's interesting because I just did that recording this week where mostly the focus was on, guess what, the Chicago O'Hare Airport Mothman sightings.
Mhm.
And
Hey,
what's
that's where I
happening
live.
there? Hey, that's where you
The
live.
kids are going wild in the street. Fucking, I don't
Looking
know
at
what
Mothman.
I don't know what one thing's got to do with the other, but I mean, if you want to bring that up,
They're
uh,
demanding a big booty Mothman statue.
yes, they're rioting
Yeah.
until Mothman is brought to justice.
But yeah, I mean the
They
draw
want
there
the
is
files released by the O'Hare security guards or whatever. That's what they're
yeah,
rioting for.
that's what it is. They're those bastard kids. Um but yeah, very similar situation. You got all these Mothman sightings happening in one area, and only one to two people that happen to work together where all these sightings are coming through. And I am, listen, busting my balls trying to find something else besides just that to make these sightings more real to me, and I just cannot. And we've talked about that to death, but
Yeah.
it's just annoying that that even happens. Like, it doesn't help further the research.
Well, you know what? If you make it out here, because we are doing that Chicago Paranormal Convention, I think Father's Day weekend, uh, and well, I'll be there probably unless something happens and I'm not. But let's track that fucker down and let's talk to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're somebody that people like to meet offline, so we'll put you in a cage, and when he comes and tries to talk to you, we'll close the cage door and then we'll fucking interrogate him
Interrogate his ass. I've said that. I'd love to talk to him. I don't know how to talk to him without sounding confrontational at this point.
with your shirt off. That's how it'll have the opposite effect that it has on your daughter.
He'll be very confused. He'll be like, well, her shirt's off, but she's not happy with me. I don't. No, okay. Not that I'm unhappy with the guy. It's just, I
Oh, be
need,
stern. It's fine.
I need more information. I
Right.
need, because again, I would be bad at my job if I didn't demand it.
You're just going to
And,
sternly instruct him that he needs to do better explaining himself.
and somebody came to my page and was like, "Oh yeah, this thing's been seen since like the 1800s over there." And I'm like, "Where have you seen that?" Like, I have read everything that I can about the fucking Mothman. I've never seen anything about the Owlman being around since 18. And I asked, "Do you have sources on this?" Well, lo and behold, they never said anything. So just stop making up bullshit just to make up bullshit on the internet, you guys. Like, just
Yeah,
stop.
that's a real problem. It
It's
muddies the
stupid.
waters. It muddies the waters that are already very muddy and fucking difficult to navigate in the first place. You don't need people just fucking spouting off bullshit because they want to argue with somebody.
Just
It
because.
ain't
And
worth
it's
it.
like, no, he was trying to he was trying to hold himself in solidarity with me, is what it is. And then I called him to the floor. Okay, well, where have you seen that at? Still hasn't, that was this morning. Still hasn't responded. Okay. So that's another dead end, right? It doesn't get me anywhere. So, and listen, I'm the queen of coming on here on my show and being like, oh, fuck, there's this thing that I kind of vaguely know about. And here's some of the details that I might kind of know about. That happens, right? We all got fucked up memories. I don't expect everybody to be obsessed with this thing as I am. But you don't come making a claim on my page and then give me absolutely nothing about it. The
Hmm.
fuck? Not me. Not the moth ma'am herself. Don't come here and try to tell me anything. Okay. Unless you're ready to back that shit up, don't come on. Don't do it.
Hmm.
So I need a credible source here. But I
You know,
don't know. The 1926 sighting, that one, I'm gonna leave that up in the air. I think that could have happened. I think that could have happened. Some two boys being chased down by this crazy creature. Now, some people think that this owl man could have just been, well, an owl
right?
that scared the shit out of people.
Big ass
Um,
owl.
I mean, big ass owl, right? And it's intimidating at a fucking old abandoned church cemetery. Yeah, that'd be scary. Nobody wants to see that shit.
Yeah,
And they just underestimated the size, and it was being aggressive because it is being territorial and doesn't want you to fuck with it. I mean, it sometimes an owl man is just an owl.
man.
Man, yeah. Sometimes it's just an owl man. Um, I don't know. It's a fun one. Again, that I know people ask me about time and time again. So, here's your reference. I just did it all. If you really want to know my thoughts on the Owlman situation, well, here it is. And you had to listen to my entire fucking episode to figure that out. And, joke's on you, I guess. But still fun. Still a fun story, even if it's not real. Sometimes a story is just a fun story, and that's all right too. Nothing wrong with that. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. But yeah, stop making shit up though. So, any other thoughts about the owl man, Pato?
Hey, sometimes an owl man is just an owl, man.
Man, just an owl man. All right, guys. Well, I'm excited. Next week's episode will be about another kind of weird one off creature, but a little bit more exciting because I actually believe in this one. So that's going to be awesome. So, what is it? I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to listen next week to figure out what it is. So, with that being said, guys, we'll see you back here next Wednesday.